So at the top left-hand corner, you will see it. I'm just gonna stop.
Yes, thank you so much, Wessam, for this opportunity. And this is such an amazing group, so I'm really excited to start. I will be also sharing my screen with you right now. And during this presentation, there will be moments where I will simply be asking you, for example, what is your goal? Or what do you think about what I'm saying? And if you all can participate and just give me your insight, that would be great because it can help me advance in what I'm going to say next. So I hope you will all play the game. So just a little introduction about myself. My name is Lily Berru. I am based in Geneva. I am half Swiss, half Vietnamese, and I grew up mostly in Asia. I finished high school in Bangkok until my father decided that he wanted to move back to where he belonged to, so the mountains in Switzerland, and it was a harsh transition, but I made it. And I studied hotel business management in Lausanne in Switzerland until 2015. Then I moved on and worked for a multinational, which was a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of disbalance in my life, which had brought me to a burnout in 2019. So I traveled for about 8 months in order to find myself and to find my balance again. And this is where I came up with the idea of emotional resilience. And I moved back to Geneva after my travels in 2019, and I did my certificate. I was still working on a side full time until about 3 months ago when I went in completely independent. And during this presentation, I will be talking to you about procrastination, why people procrastinate, why is it that you can't get yourself down to put things in action, and all the mental barriers that could be keeping you away from reaching your goals, and how you can overcome that as well. And just to start, here is a quote that I would like to share with you. So wherever you are standing in your life right now, whatever your goals may be, you don't have to see the full staircase, just take the first step. So don't feel overwhelmed. Every single step counts in this journey. And here's my very first question to you. Thinking about this upcoming year and all the transformation that we want to go through, what would it take for you to feel that you are excelling in life? What is your goal? Yes. I'm sorry, I don't see the names on the screen.
Naeem.
Naeem, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, as I would do with every conversation that I join, I would like to speak a whole lot. So the thing that
Naeem, can you
propels me
speak
towards my
louder?
goal is being successful in the things in the project that I'm working. Like
Okay.
if I have a job or if I have a task, I have to fulfill the assignment so that I can feel a bit more.
When people stand at the very beginning, having goals that they want to achieve, they picture that goal and they feel excited. The first step of the failure cycle is when you are filled with excitement. But then in the second step, when it comes to taking action and putting things down, this is when you are not doing it. You are delaying the things that you need to do in order to get there. And this is called the avoidance behavior. And once you get past this avoidance behavior, you start making excuses. So what are usually the excuses that people make for not doing what they need to do? Hey, could be the weather, it could be that you're tired because of work, it could be that you are feeling overwhelmed, it could be that, I don't know, anything is possible, right? When people tell me that they want to become healthier and have a workout routine every week and they're not doing it, what are their excuses? Maybe they don't have enough time for it. And so they start feeling frustrated. And in this frustration, they start to blame. And who do people usually blame? Who do you blame when things are happening or not happening to you, or things happen, but not in the way that you expect? People tend to blame external elements, right? We blame our partners, we blame our colleagues, we blame people that are things that are around us, the government, anything. Yes, Naeem.
Yeah, for me,
But more often than that, people don't do it. And so what happens is that even when you acknowledge that you are the person who is responsible for it, and maybe you will tell yourself, okay, I'm going to start it over again. And then you'll get excited about it, but then you delay what you need to do, and then you make excuses and you start the blaming process again. And maybe you're blaming yourself again, and this time it's worse, right? And then before you know it, you keep going through this over and over and over again in the course of your life. And so, of course, there's nothing wrong about failures. We can all learn from failures. There are lessons to be taken here, of course, and you need to know that. And Winston Churchill said it, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So whatever it is, just keep pushing, everybody. Just keep doing what you need to do and thrive. And so where do you think the issue is lying in this whole cycle? What is the blocking stage of it? The avoidance behavior. Oop, did someone actually draw on the action? Because even if you fall back, you go back into the excitement phase, and then if you don't take action, that is where the whole process starts.
Yeah, but how do you become conscious of the whole thing?
We'll talk about that later on. And oh, we have another person who raised their hand. You can just.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, in my opinion, it is basically the core lies on not spending time in motivating ourselves to do what we want to do, because in the end, at least for me, when I think of the things that I avoided doing, that I planned, every single one of them, with maybe a few exceptions, are the ones where I didn't spend enough time motivating myself, because it sounds so cool to do something, but most of the time the things I've been successful at, they were not the ones who were sounding extremely so cool. I was actually afraid of going through that way, but in the end, I was extremely motivated.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but that's the thing, is that we're not pushing ourselves hard enough to actually get things done. And the whole issue is this part, not taking action. And this is what we call procrastination, this delaying part, this non-motivating ourselves. That's what procrastination is about. Have you ever heard this proverb, mañana is the busiest day of the week? Everything we want to do, from the smallest task, like washing the dishes, cleaning the house, taking out the trash, doing the groceries, all of that, let's do it mañana, so tomorrow, but this is the indefinite future. We keep pushing things back because it feels convenient in the moment. And there are 4 reasons to procrastination. When it comes to procrastination, the very first reason for which you are not doing the things that you want to do is because you are setting yourself the wrong goals. So think about it. If we're thinking about bigger goals in life and the things that you actually want to achieve, what are your goals? A lot of people nowadays set goals that they see maybe from their inspiring mentors or social media or friends and family, people who have achieved the things that you think you want to achieve. Are those goals yours? Are those aligned with who you are and with your values and with your capabilities, your skills? And sometimes these goals can be too high. And what happens when the goals you set are too high is that halfway through the journey, you will become disillusioned and you will give up. And so you fall into the failure cycle. And on the contrary, sometimes goals can also be too low. And what happens when goals are too low? When you think about something that you want to achieve and you tell yourself, hey, that can be done in 2 minutes. I don't even have to put any effort in it. What happens? You get bored, right? You get bored and you're not even going to do it because you're bored only by thinking about it. So with this said, in this time, we can do whatever we want, whenever we want it, and we have to know ourselves. This is when it's important to contemplate on who you are, what you want to achieve, and what you are good at in order to set the right goals. And people say life is the pursuit of happiness. And let's correct that. It is actually the pursuit in life that is happiness in itself. Because once you have achieved a goal, you're never going to stop. You're going to achieve another goal. You're going to look for another pursuit to go after. And reason number 2 for procrastination, on the essentials of what you need to do, this is when you fall into the avoidance behavior. It's all about prioritization. And if you prioritize it well, corresponding to what you need and what you really want, this is when you can actually motivate yourself as well. And it's like, you know, when you sit in the office and you have this report that you need to write or an email that you need to write, what happens? You sit in front of your computer, you open it, and you have your phone next to you. Your phone starts buzzing. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, TikTok, maybe Snapchat, whatever. But then you get distracted and all of a sudden you find yourself answering WhatsApp messages, watching Instagram stories, reading the news, whatever. And it takes you, instead of 15 minutes to do that task that you wanted to do on your computer, maybe an hour or 2, because you've been distracted. And so when you're setting the right goals and setting yourself to do something, you have to be focused on it. And here there's an interview that I came across from 2017 with Usain Bolt, who told a reporter that asked him, hey, when you were standing on track, what were you thinking? Were you thinking about how you're going to actually celebrate this victory with your family and with your friends tonight? And Usain Bolt told him, I generally have things I need to focus on. From the start to the drive phase, to the transition into top speed running. So as the fastest man, even if he knows he is the fastest man on earth, he still thinks only of how he is going to carry out every single movement in that race that he is going to make. So in the goal setting process, this is what it has to look like. You know where you're going, you know what it's going to look like. And of course, in life, we are not sprinting, but it is still in the rhythm of the pursuit and the achievement in the end that will make this journey a powerful one for you. And the reason number 3 for procrastination is having no action plan. If you don't have an action plan, how are you actually going to get where you want to be? How do you know what you're going to do? So raise your hand if you have goals here. Oh, we all have goals. Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad to see that. But do you have them written down on a piece of paper, on a board, on your journal, anywhere? Yes, Naeem?
Well, I have not written.
That's a take us there. And I'm sorry to say that, but if you don't do it, it's very unlikely that you're going to get there. So what a dreamer does is they have these goals. We all have our dreams and our goals, and that's great. We have to keep dreaming. That's what keeps us going forward, right? But if you want to achieve things, you have to become a goal setter. So from this dream, make a goal out of it and write out all of the micro steps that will take you there. And these are going to be tiny incremental things that you can do, and you're going to do them every single day. You have to do them consistently every single day. And this is the only way to guarantee outcome. Be it 5 minutes, be it 10 minutes, how much is that out of your day, right? But you've got to sit yourself down and do it and set yourself, maybe even 10 minutes. Do it. Confucius says, the man who moves mountains begin by carrying away small stones. So every single step in this journey counts. There's no one thing that is too small, too unimportant to make. And if you follow these mechanics of setting the right goals, having a clear focus on what you want and how you want to do it, and having the right action plan, it will help you with overcoming the 4th reason to procrastination. And what I love to talk about, and we talk about this a lot with my clients, it's mental barriers. Now, what are mental barriers? We all have plenty of those. Mental barriers are fears, doubts, self-sabotaging thoughts, everything that stop us from doing what we really want to do. All of these thoughts are what is compromising with our wins in life. And you know what? When it comes to fears, there are 2 news that I would like to share with you. The first one, you could perceive it as bad news. Everything that you've learned and acquired in life, you can unlearn them right away. everything, all of your bad habits, all of, you know, like all of the things, maths or poetry, literature that you had learned in primary school. I think you've left it behind the minute that you left grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. And all of the bad habits, as a procrastinator, as a maybe a lazy person, if you describe yourself as a lazy person, you have only acquired that along the way, and you can unlearn that. And the second news is good news. It's about your fears and your mental barriers. So remember, we acquire things through our life. And these things, these fears, they come from our past. They come from our surroundings. They come from our parents, education, society, the things that we see around us, and they do not belong to us. These fears belong to your past, and they belong to others. And I have a very funny story about this. I used to be scared of snakes, so scared that I could not even say the word. And I realized that the reason for which I was so scared of snakes was because my grandmother was scared of snakes. And I looked up so much to her that I adopted her fears to be my own. And the moment that I realized that, it just unlocked everything and I wasn't scared of it anymore. And it's like, you know, when teenagers go to school, all these young girls who one day just come back home and tell their parents, I feel ugly and I feel fat. Where did they get that from? And when it comes to fears and mental barriers, let me tell you one thing. Human beings are only born with 2 fears. The first one is fear of falling. Because we are the only living beings who take 2 to 3 years to actually learn how to walk and to run properly. And the second fear is fear of loud noises. People used to be scared of loud noise because that could mean that a mammoth is coming to eat the whole troop. And above that is everything that you have learned. So once you've adopted these 2 informations, you will understand how easy it is to actually untie yourself from those self-sabotaging thoughts once again, from thinking you're not good enough, from thinking that you're never going to make it, or that you're not worth it and it's not even giving it a try. And you know what? A lot of people tell me that they fear failure because of that outcome that they don't know about. But what if sometimes you also fear of success? Because you don't even know how you're going to handle it if you're actually going to get there. And like you said at the beginning, Naeem, you want things to be perfect. So perfectionism, hey, what's that? What kind of fear is that, right? Judgment? Are you unsure of yourself? But what is perfection if people don't get to see what you're producing? And yeah. Do you want to add something to that? Naeem?
Yeah.
Have a past. I hope you agree with that. We all have a past. No matter how spectacular that past is, it is there. And we all have a future. But you know what? A lot of people don't see the future because they keep living in the past. And then we have this moment that stands in between the past and the future. What is that moment for you? Have you ever thought of how you would define this moment that sits in between the past and the future? Yeah, I can see you saying now. Exactly. Now, the present is the now. And you know what? Now is the only moment of power that you have. Whatever happens in the past or in the future, this moment, the now, is the only moment you can give energy to your thoughts. Do you realize how many thoughts we have per day? Everyone. We all have from 40 to 60,000 thoughts per day. And do you think these thoughts have an impact in our life? If you think they don't, they absolutely do. from the most useless thoughts, they all impact the way that we think, the way that we feel, and the way that we make decisions. It's like when you're waking up in the morning and you're looking out the window and your first thought is, it's gray today. Do you think that that doesn't mean anything? It does, because it's going to set your mind for the rest of the day. You're going to think, oh, it's gray. Oh, I'm not going to go out. Oh, I'm not going to work out today. Oh, I'm feeling tired already. And it's just, and then you just start pulling yourself through that process of negativity. Or on the contrary, if you look out and you see the sun and you're like, I'm looking forward to getting up. Hey, what is your day going to look like? Amazing, right? So every single thought that is going to come after that thought will actually impact the rest of your day and every single emotion. And you know what? Every single thought that we have triggers an emotion. And very unfortunately, 90% of our thoughts are focused on the past. Why is that? Why do we sit here and keep thinking about what we already know, be it good or bad? Because it feels comfortable, right? It's familiar. We've been there. We've seen that. And especially if it was a success, it feels good. So we want to stay there. But sometimes these can also be bad memories. And these can be bad experiences, but you will keep staying there. Because you're too scared of looking forward, because the future looks scary, because it's the unknown, it's risky, it takes you out of your comfort zone. But you know what? A man is the product of his thoughts. What you think, what he thinks, he becomes. So whatever you think you want to be, believe in that and you will be that person. If you want to think that you're going to make it past that past, that it was painful to you, you are going to make it. And now that we know we unconsciously deliver such a large amount of thoughts every single day, wouldn't it be so much more meaningful for us to actually use these thoughts to unlock opportunities in our present? It's simple. Once again, just focus in the now. Remember, now is the moment where you can give energy to your thoughts, and now is the only moment of power that you have over yourself, over your thoughts, over everything that is around you. So change your thoughts and you will change your world. If you want to predict your future, I can tell you that it's also possible to do that. Just look at the last 5 years of your life. All of the successes and all of the failures that you have been through, they are most likely to be reproduced again in the next 5 years of your life. Why? Because we create patterns in life. We go through life to create patterns and we keep repeating the same things because once again, it is familiar. We repeat the same failures because we've been there, and we keep repeating the same successes as well because our ego knows how good it felt when we have achieved that. So rather than changing your successes and telling yourself, I'm going to reach something new, you're going to perfect what you are already perfect at because you have succeeded at it already, because it feels good. It's like a safety blanket on a rainy day. But you can get to change. You can change your patterns. It is possible, but this requires discipline. It requires a lot of discipline. Exactly. Hyatt says it, unless we break the cycle of awareness. So to break this chain, you have to look forward and you have to create yourself a vision. And this vision is going to be your pulling power. It has got to be strong and powerful enough so that when you look at it, you tell yourself, I've got so much to accomplish and I cannot wait to start my day. Create this vision for you. Bring that into your life. And this requires a lot of contemplation. Have you ever heard people say, if it takes 7 hours to cut down a tree, spend 6 hours sharpening the axe? This contemplation phase, making breakthroughs in your awareness, this is what takes the longest. But you have to sit yourself down to actually do it in order to get yourself to the action in itself. And the very easiest the easiest example that I use for this, and I like the example because it is true. When you say, I want to wake up and do yoga or workout every morning, it is not actually the workout itself that is the hardest, right? It is the moment when you have to stop snoozing your alarm, getting up, putting on your gym gear, laying out that mat, putting on your shoes, until you actually make the movements in itself. As soon as you start the first squat, the next 15 squats will follow. So it's not the action that is hardest, but it is the preparation phase. And in this vision, you have to be other people centered. So think, if you are bringing about projects in your life, if you want to produce something, think, how do I add value to people? How can I create something that is worthwhile for others, but also for myself? Don't we all have this one friend who thrives, who's always motivated, who's introducing you to people, who's always inviting people? What happens to her life or his life? Their life looks amazing, right? Because they get invited everywhere. They are at everyone's weddings. They get promotions. They get to know the right people at the right time, all the time. And this is what happens when you are people-centered. There is an emotional wind that happens because people will get behind you and you will go with the wind of life instead of going against it. And if you are on a self-development road, working on yourself, think, how can I share this experience with other people? Share your success, otherwise it has no meaning. We people exist because of other people. So for the ones who are perfectionists, think about that. Share your work before it is perfect, because it won't be perfect until you have actually done the work and showed it to the world. We exist because two people got together, not one. We only exist because of others, and others exist because of us. So think about that in everything that you do. Don't suffer alone, but don't enjoy your success alone either. And while you're going through your reality, creating this vision for yourself and creating your people-centeredness, you're going to have to deal with your inner world, of course. We're all brought back to these mental barriers, to the fears and to the self-doubts. But you're going to have to break up with the past once more. That is what is chaining you back. Whenever you are telling yourself, I am not capable, why? Because in the past you have not done it. But the now you and the future you can do it if you set your mind to it. And this is all about mind mastery. We need to master our mind, and we need to understand how powerful our thoughts are over every single action that we want to take. And in this mind mastery module, I teach my clients about the preferred reality conditioning. What is that? So we all have a current reality, right? This is where you are sitting. This is your life right now. And this current reality comes to us by the quality of the thoughts that we have up until this point. You have created this reality, and we all have a preferred reality. What does this preferred reality look like? It looks like this here. It's your dream. It's your goals, and it's all of those tiny incremental steps that you need to take in order to get to here. But so why is it that we can't jump from current reality to preferred reality? What does it take? Why is it so hard? Why are we still sitting here dreaming about here? And someone wrote it before in the chat. It's about, yeah, gaining awareness, but it's also about jumping out of your comfort zone, and it's about making changes. You have got to change the way that you do things and the way that you think to jump from A to B. we can change our patterns, we can change our realities, and it requires a vision, and requires discipline, and requires change. So most of the time there is resistance to change that sits between current reality and preferred reality. And there are two faculties that you can use in your daily life right now that can help you jump from A to B. And the very first one is the visual faculty of the mind. So does this ring any bell? We use this when we are asleep. We use this when we have those moments when we think, oh, this is a déjà vu. No, our mind is actually sometimes playing out things, but we also use this in our awakened time. Like when you walk into a meeting room and you had this presentation that has been ready, you're excited, but you're also anxious, and you tell yourself, I already know exactly how this is going to be. And that scenario just plays out exactly as you imagine it in front of you. Did that already happen to you? Or anything else? Like when you start cooking, but you tell yourself, I always spill things, and you already see yourself spilling things around. What happens? You are going to spill things around. Or when you're sitting in a car, driving around, desperately looking for a car parking slot, but you are already visualizing that every single slot is taken. What happens? You're not going to find a car parking slot. Or when you see a small child walking or running towards you, and you tell yourself, hey, it's gonna fall. Poor child. The child is falling because you're picturing it. So the thing is that when you have this scenario, when you visualize something and you keep playing the scenario over and over in your mind, you play it so much that your physiology and the motor skills of your mind unconsciously play out that outcome. Albert Einstein said, what you see in mind is the preview of life coming in attraction. Picture something else. Picture what you actually want to see. Picture your preferred reality. It actually worked for me. I'm using this car parking slots a lot because it actually works. I used to say, oh, I'm so unlucky. I never find a car parking slot. Until the day I said, you know what? I'm sure there's going to be one somewhere. And then I turned out to be the luckiest person when it comes to finding a car parking slot. I always have a parking slot, always. And it's right in front of my house or right in front of the restaurant. And it's exactly where I need it to be. It's only because I imagine it and I believe that that's what I am, lucky with parking slots. And the number 2 is the scripts. You are the playwright of your life, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you say, whatever your story is, you decided. So think, how do you want to show up in life? How do you want to show up as a manager, as a leader, as a mom, a dad, a partner? The story you tell yourself matters a lot, everything that you say. And of course, if you picture yourself to be the greatest person in that area, you will become that person because you are talking to yourself into making the efforts and into this self-encouragement, and the efforts will come along with it because you believe in it, because that's your story. Your story is that I'm the best manager, or I'm the most people-centered manager of the company. Therefore, you will become that because you are going to live up to your own words. And then number 3, there's a third faculty that we use, and that's called the alpha mind. But I will not talk about it today because it opens a whole other box of Pandora. But the alpha mind is all about teaching your mind to think differently. And that is what I work on with my clients every single day, at every single session. It's about teaching your mind to think differently. And I'm working right now with a client who is paralyzed, who had a very severe accident a few years ago. And we're working towards creating his new reality and seeing how life is actually still very meaningful and how strong he actually is to overcome all of his obstacles. and he can do it. And by seeing what he has achieved and what he's doing to thrive every single day, I can tell you, as a healthy person, we can do anything as long as we set our mind to it. And so have those goals for you. If there are things that you want to achieve, if there are projects that you have been dying to bring about in life, write yourself this mantra and tell yourself every single morning before you brush your teeth, before you take your breakfast, before you hop on the bus or do your work. Think it to yourself, whatever it is. My mantra is, I'll get everything done and I'll get it done today. I'll get everything done and I'll get it done today. Whatever it is, be it work, be it doing things for myself, taking time, meditating, just believing in myself. Hey, that should be in your to-do list too. If you don't believe in yourself, I'll get everything done and I'll get it done today. Repeat it as many times as possible until your mind goes, yeah, I'll get it done. Does it sound like brainwashing? But yes, it is. And you know what? We already brainwash ourselves every single day with those 60,000 thoughts. But now that you know that in the moments of now, you have the power to interrupt all of those thoughts, why won't you think something that will be actually useful and to unlock opportunities for you, right? So I am inviting you to brainwash yourself, to think differently and to use your thoughts to overcome everything. And I'm never going to tell my clients or to you, hey, you're going to master your emotions, you're going to master your thoughts. No, you're not going to master it, but you have to put in the effort to actually navigate it. Because if you're feeling down, I'm not going to tell you, hey, by thinking that you're going to you feel well, you will actually feel well. No, but you need to tell yourself something different to take yourself out of that place you don't want to be in anymore. So that's the end of my presentation today. And thank you so much.